Thank you for joining our webinar today. We've got an exciting session for you focused on a hot topic of how you can report on projects, people, and work using Microsoft's Planner Premium and Power BI solutions. Let's get started. My name is Annie Levand, and I'm with a Microsoft Gold partner called PROJILITY. We've been implementing Microsoft project and portfolio management solutions and developing enterprise-level applications for over 20 years for large enterprises, including everything from engineering, construction, IT, and new product development. PMOs and CIOs typically come to us when they can't easily explain what's going on across all their projects. They don't know what resources are working on what work, and they have a hard time getting consistent reports, metrics, and dashboards to make project-based decisions. We're known for having a 98% on time, on budget track record for successfully implementing these solutions for clients. We offer services and solutions in 3 core areas: deployment and consulting services, PROJILITY's core business. We provide professional services for successfully planning and implementing Microsoft Project Portfolio Management, including Microsoft Project Online, Planner Premium, integrating PPM with line of business applications, and delivering strategic portfolio management solutions to support top-level management planning. PROJILITY also offers a set of Hammerhead pre-built software solutions and accelerators based upon 20 years of experience, including a set of Hammerhead products that provide improved access to your cloud PPM data, accelerate access to visual reports and dashboards using Power BI, connect data between your PPM system with Microsoft Teams, and extend connectivity into Active Directory to improve visibility, insight, and control over your work, people, and projects. New to our offerings is Hammerhead Power Pro, which is a pre-built solution crafted on the foundation of the Microsoft Power Platform and Planner Premium. This offering is designed to help bring some of our lessons learned on this platform to your organization. Finally, PROJILITY provides post-implementation support services, including expert care, designed to assist your PMO with gaining on-demand expertise on the solution supported. We have a full online automated e-learning offering that can improve consistency and adoption for your users of your project management tools. You can learn more about all of our services and solutions on our website, PROJILITY.com. We have upcoming webinars covering sessions on best practices for Project, Planner Premium, and PPM processes and tools. Sign up for this in all of our events following the links here, or ask for a copy of today's deck. All videos from this and previous series are available on our best practice playlist on YouTube, listed on this page. Topics range from managing your digital transformation program using PPM technologies to integrating PPM with Agile line of business applications. Feel free to subscribe and access this library at any time and share with your colleagues. With that, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Rob Hirschman, partner here at PROJILITY. Rob has over 25 years of experience in the project and portfolio management space, initially at Microsoft working as a regional lead on their client-facing teams, and now with PROJILITY. He's going to be taking us through today's agenda and content. If you have questions, please log them into the questions and answer manager at the top of your team screen, and we'll take those questions towards the end of our session. Rob, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Annie, and thanks everybody for joining today. From an agenda perspective, we're going to talk about what is Planner Premium. We get a lot of questions. What's the difference between the normal version of Planner and Planner Premium? We'll explain that. We'll talk about some of the typical use cases that Planner Premium was designed to support and is being enhanced to support. Then we'll get into a little bit about where the data from Planner Premium lives. This is really important if we're going to be talking about reporting. How do you access that data that's behind the scenes from Planner Premium? What does the reporting structure look like in terms of how's the data structured in that database? Give you a short demonstration to show you how you would access that data, what it looks like from the different interfaces, and finally wrap up with some kind of lessons learned and good practices towards the end in terms of moving forward. We will answer questions, so please log those as we go along. As mentioned, Microsoft does offer different solution applications in Office 365 that are really designed to go from basic work collaborative management, which is the base version of Planner at the bottom, to Planner Premium, which is a lighter version of a project management tool that's really designed for business project managers, kind of lighter IT projects, folks that don't have super complex project scheduling and resource management requirements, but still want full-featured project management and reporting. And that's really what we're focused on today is the Planner Premium solution and suite. We do have other webinars out there on Project Online if you're interested. So let's really start out with a definition. What is Planner Premium? It's a little confusing if you go to the Microsoft website or talk to folks. Planner Premium is a Microsoft service that's available in Office 365, a very well-defined service. And it provides really 4 pieces of collaborative functionality. The first is it is a project scheduling tool. So if you want to go out and build a schedule or a plan with tasks and activities and milestones and deliverables, Planner Premium supports that. It has different views within it in a Kanban board, in a timeline or a Gantt chart, and looking at people. So it provides whoever's managing a project, whether it's a business person managing a business project or someone in technology managing an IT or an engineering project, the ability to build a project schedule in a much more simplified version of what you'd find in a Microsoft project schedule plan in desktop. It also provides the ability to do basic resource assignments, meaning assigning people to different activities. And then those team members can be notified and they have the ability to come into the schedule and update progress on their activities. And that's a built-in function. The nice thing about that is from a licensing perspective, those users don't need a planner license. They can use a standard Office 365, what's called an E3 or an E5, or in the government it's G3 or G5, and they can come in and view the plan and update their tasks. Third, it actually provides a collaborative tie between the schedule or the plan in the service and Microsoft Teams. So you could actually have your schedule embedded or your plan embedded in a Microsoft team and enable chat functionality, enable document management functionality, enable collaboration. Some of the other things you would typically do on a project, it's not always about the schedule. It's about all the things and the communication around that. Those could all be captured within Microsoft Teams, and Teams becomes kind of the unified user interface. And fourth, and importantly, it is an expandable solution. Microsoft knows there's no one size fits all with project management solutions. So behind the scenes, there's actually something called the Planner Power App that's running, which has a database behind it. And this is where you can go and you can craft more complete project management solutions if you want to capture other information about your projects beyond the schedule, which is what we're going to talk about as well. So really, this is a defined service in Office 365 you can subscribe to. And is really accessible through one of three interfaces that are out there. The first one is you can go into Microsoft Teams. You can insert the Planner app in Microsoft Teams and pin that to your left nav. And then through that, you're going to be able to see all of your plans, your basic planner plans, and then your premium planner plans as well. You can go to the Office 365 waffle in the top left, or in the new Copilot interface we'll show you today. You can type in Planner. You'll pull up the Planner app in a web browser, and you get the same interface, the same user experience you have in Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft has done a nice job of really simplifying and unifying those two. And finally, you can access your data through what's called the Planner Power App, as we mentioned, which is a model-driven power app in Office 365. Again, Microsoft provides the foundation for this in the background. You can configure that to meet your specific needs. So this is what Planner Premium is, and this is how you actually get to the core application. We'll show you a little bit of this in the demo. Who needs Planner Premium? Importantly, you want to think about what are the typical use cases, not just stand it up and start using it. Well, the first use case is really for project managers. And this can really range from what we call non-traditional or accidental or business project managers, folks that are maybe in the business. Maybe they're in operations or human resources or in marketing, and they want a very light, easy to use, flexible, visual project management tool to plan and manage all of their projects and their work. Planner Premium fits that. Additionally, Microsoft has been adding additional scheduling and work functionality to enable this for more professional project managers to do things like baselining a schedule or task updates, or if you wanted to do any kind of integrated dependencies. So it can support some of the core requirements of a professional project manager. So you've got schedules and tasks. You also, through the Power App, have the ability to enable things like issue and risk management, change control and change management, and status tracking and status management as well. And that gives you really the ability to track multiple projects and their metadata within that app. So the first use case really focuses on the project manager, whether it's business project managers or professional project managers. And that's kind of the focus use case by Microsoft to start with. Additionally, you can start to enable access for your team members. These are players in the process as well. Team members, from a use case perspective, will have a way to see and update all of their tasks all in one place. In fact, Planner Premium pulls all those into My Tasks, the unified interface. And you could also have a dashboard in Power BI that would aggregate that for your end users very quickly and easily. It allows those team members to view the overall plans and schedules they have and understand the context of their tasks as it relates to all the other tasks in the schedule and the impact of making changes to those. Thirdly, it also allows the team members to collaborate on key activities, but also documents, app mentions, and chats, any deliverables that are going to be happening on projects. They can interface with the project manager through a Teams user interface for some of that collaboration, through SharePoint if they want to, directly through the actual app. So you have really a functionality enabled from a use case perspective for your team members. The third use case is for the PMO or the project management office. These are the folks that want to centralize and standardize on how projects are planned, tracked, managed, and reported against. And depending on the type of PMO, whether it's an administrative or a control PMO, they may want to provide executive visibility. They may want to provide portfolio visibility and portfolio management. A lot of PMOs want to standardize on templates and processes in these tools. That's really a key use case of using Planner Premium. And finally, the ability to do enterprise or group or department roll-ups across reports, across projects. So they don't have to go and pull the information from 20 different project managers and pull a PowerPoint together. They can go to one place, an application or a dashboard, to measure progress, identify risks, implement standard key performance indicators like a red, yellow, green stoplight. All that can be done by the PMO within the core apps. And the fourth core use case, and we're starting to see extended out for Planner Premium, really are the business leaders, the folks that are the stakeholders, the folks that invest in these projects, that are spending the money, that are really enabling the projects, whether they want that visibility and insight to easily access the status and health and the ROI of the projects that are investing in, to see how they're performing and do they have tasks that are late or people that are overbooked, so they can really gauge why things are off track. And finally, to provide any kind of cross-project planning and resource management. A lot of organizations are starting to grow into resource management functionality and be able to look at who's working on what. Because it's really hard to staff projects if you don't have the people, and you really have to be able to pivot on people and projects together. So using the core Planner Premium as well as the Planner Power app in a lot of these scenarios can really help people meet the core use case and business needs they have. And so this really talks through kind of the different roles and use cases. So, what kind of data can you track in Planner Premium today? The core data you would find in the core schedule would be projects. Within those projects, you would be able to assign tasks and activities and any data related to them. And finally, you have resources in the middle of it. Who's working on what? Who do I have assigned to what activities? And what's the status of those tasks and activities? And why are things on track or off track? So the three core data elements or objects in the system are projects, resources, and tasks. We can take and extend that out using that Power App that Microsoft provides us to capture all kinds of other information. Let's say we had project fields of data or metadata. Maybe we want to, attach a department name or a business strategy or a goal or a director to a project. We can create fields and metadata in the Power App and associate that with different projects or resources. We also have the ability to track in issue and risk logs your RAID, your risks, action items, and decisions associated with each project and then across projects. The tool actually supports the capturing of changes. Changes happen on every project, having a change request log, and maybe even implementing a change approval that goes in front of a CCB or a change request control board. We have a lot of organizations that track action items and deliverables or decisions related to projects within that Power App. You can also track status. This is really helpful. So a project manager can go into a form in the Power App, fill it in for the status as of a certain day or a certain week, and then you can trend that and look at where you were 2 weeks ago versus this week versus the week before that. It allows you and enables you to track project-related costs, maybe the total budget, the forecast where you are today, maybe detailed costs on projects. It also supports tracking project intake and requests through forms that are in that Power App. So anybody can come in and put in a request for a potential project, and you all in the PMO can make decisions what projects you're going to do. So think of it as maybe replacing your big SharePoint list. Finally, it does support any kind of workflows and workflow management. Because this is in a Power App, it leverages Microsoft Power Automate, which is Microsoft's engine for business process automation, to maybe get approvals on project requests, or have a project governance process and lifecycle, or maybe when a risk gets raised, I wanted to notify certain people, or maybe step a risk up into an issue when it becomes a problem or a change for approval. So you think about any of those workflows or processes you want to put in place, it's leveraging Power Automate for that. So really think of this as a very, very powerful platform that appears very simple on the front end, but can be expanded out through that Power App. We've got all this information in Planner. Now, where is the data behind Planner Premium stored? The core version of Planner stores its data in something called the Microsoft Graph, which isn't easily accessible for reporting. What Microsoft has done is they've purposely architected Planner Premium, not only with expansion opportunities in mind with the Power App, but also the ability to access that data. And Microsoft stores its data in something called the Microsoft Dataverse database, which is a native database Microsoft provides in Office 365. Think of it as an Azure database that's being managed in Office 365 as a cloud service. And it is a secure cloud-based platform that'll store, manage, and track any of the business information that's being tracked within that application. That Power App for Planner, if you have any Power Automate workflows, the data is tracked there as well for reporting. You can leverage Power BI, which we're going to talk a lot about for reporting. Even if you have a dynamic system, like an M365 Dynamics application out there for finance or operations, it's living in the same platform. The way Dataverse works, like any traditional database, is it organizes your data into tables, which used to be called entities. And those tables are going to have different rows and columns within them, traditional, database structure. And this supports both standard tables that are going to come with the application, like projects, resources, tasks, issues, risks. And then you can expand that out and add your own tables into the solution specific to your needs. So think of it really as a cloud database driven application where your data is all accessible for reporting. And also you need to consider things like the environment strategy. When you initially turn on Office 365, everything, including the Planner app, the core Planner and Planner Premium apps, they're in something called a default environment. There is one default environment, and that's the tool that anybody in your organization can access. It is the basically general inbox that people can go and use Planner. All their plans are stored in that instance. What we generally recommend, what Microsoft recommends, is if you're going to build out any unique apps for your business, or you want to control security or governance, or maybe make a version of this app specifically for a group that nobody else can see or access, you can create what's called a named instance that has the Dataverse, the Power App, and Planner Premium running in the front end. And then you can have those as named. You can have a production and a development one. You can have one for marketing and operations. And that way you can separate them out and everybody can have their own unique setup, or you can have everybody live in the default environment. And there's positives and negatives to both. It's something you want to consider as you're thinking about rolling this out, maybe as an enterprise application. Get people used to and comfortable using the application, but at some point they may come to you with very specific needs. That's where you're going to look at setting up named environments. So the database is called the Dataverse. So, before we jump into a demo, I want to explain how do we do reporting from this tool? And the diagram here shows you a couple of things. At the top, we have the browser. This is how your users are going to be interfacing with any of the data in Office 365. Below that, you'll see we have the Power Platform. And the Power Platform is where that app, the model-driven app we mentioned, is going to run that allows for all that configuration and customization of the app. We have what's called the Project and Planner Core Service. That is the service that's running in this environment when you go into Teams or you go into the Planner app. That's actually running and you're using that service to do any of your scheduling and planning. The Dataverse is the database below that sits behind all this, that's storing all the data from the service and the app. And then you're setting up different security roles within that Power App that allow you to control who has access to what information in the actual application. So you don't have to just make it a free-for-all where anybody can do anything. If they have a license, you can limit security and access. What happens is that green line is going to feed data from the Dataverse into Power BI. So what happens is you'll be setting up a Power BI workspace and you'll be creating what's called a semantic model. And that semantic model is the data relationship between data that's in that Dataverse to make logical sense of it. So if I want to have projects and resources associated with one another, and then I want to look at what tasks are associated with projects and resources, I would build that into my semantic model. Or if I want to associate issues and risks, and maybe the field of portfolio, and say, show me the issues and risks across my portfolio, I would build those data relationships into that semantic model. So when it's pulling data from the Dataverse, it's populating that. And then on top of that, I can write my reports and dashboards with the Power BI reporting tool. And this is where the view comes in. Once I've done that, I can then view the reports in the red lines, either directly in the Power App, or most people are actually going to just go right into Power BI through a browser to look at those reports. You have both options. But Microsoft, again, allows a lot of flexibility and really a scalable enterprise architecture that's behind the Planner Premium that really supports expanding this solution out over time. So this should really give you a sense for kind of what's working behind the scenes, what the different components are. We're going to give you a demonstration next of the actual solution. So we're going to get into Office 365. Just for a second. Okay. I'm going to get into Office 365, and this is my landing page. Some folks have the new landing page here, which is very focused on Copilot and asking questions. Other folks are going to have the app launcher on the top left. Either way, we have a couple ways we get to our application. I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to the Planner app, and this is the core Planner app you see today. Nothing has really been modified or changed here. There are really 4 components of the Planner app. We have My Day, which think of this as my to-do list. This is kind of Microsoft's version of to-do, where I can put in unique tasks or I can add tasks from existing plans. The My Tasks area is going to unify all the tasks I have across all my Planner plans. But for today, we're really focused on the My Plans area. And this is where, as an end user, I may go in, I just want to build a work breakdown. I want to build a schedule for a project. So I would have the ability to come in here and start a new plan. How I know I have access to Planner Premium is I see there's a premium option here to start a new plan. I can start that, and then I get all the premium features. If I do a basic plan, that's going to give me the core, the basic version of Planner that doesn't have the project management capabilities. So in this case, I've actually been managing a series of projects here. I'm going to go to one of them called the software development project. I'll go back a little bit. I'm going to go to the health assessment reporting project. And it's going to pull up the schedule for this particular project for me. So this is where I'm building just the work plan or the schedule. And I may build a work breakdown structure here that has 1, 5, 50, 500 tasks. It's very user-friendly, very easy to use. If I want to just minimize the left nav here, I can do that. Now I have the full screen to work in. This is where I'm going to be creating tasks and activities, creating a hierarchy of those tasks and activities. I can assign people to tasks. I can progress a task at 25%. I can update the effort or the duration. I can even create dependencies or relationships here. So the system knows, if something happens to one task, what's the impact on all the other ones? As I do that, it's going to pop up with a dependency type. So it's guiding me through the process here as a project manager. So as I'm building out my project, I'm going to do it in the Planner Core app here. And then I've got different views, like I have the Kanban board, which you've seen. You have the timeline, which is your Gantt chart, where you can kind of create the logical flow of your project, like your project calendar. And then we have charts and people and tasks and assignments here. So this is the core product. So as I'm managing this, I may have multiple plans I want to report off of. So I may have the software development, the health assessment, the iPads project. All of these are unique projects. What I have the ability to do is if I go back into Office 365, into Power BI, I can create a series of reports that point to that data that's in the Dataverse to do very basic reporting out of my schedules. In this case, we've developed a report here. Make the screen a little bigger for you. And so in this case, we've got a series of reports in Power BI that are pointing to that semantic model that's pulling data over from the Planner Premium database. In this case, we've got a report on the portfolio. So it's a very quick look at the 80 projects I have in my portfolio. It's going to summarize things like the total effort, the tasks and effort behind it, how much work we've done, how much is remaining. And that's all based on the underlying projects. Over here in this grid, you'll see the projects by type. These are all in progress. And maybe I can look at effort by project to see how much effort is involved, or by project manager. If I just want to see Sarah's projects, I can click on that. And then I see the 2 projects Sarah is managing today. And down here, again, through having an intelligent related semantic model, I can see Sarah's 2 projects. She has an HR project and a marketing campaign coming up. One of those projects has 15 overdue tasks. One of them has 7 overdue tasks. I can see the start and finish dates, how many have been completed, and I can drill into that if I want to. You then have the ability to have slicers. So if I wanted to look at projects, maybe from a certain project manager, show me Sunny's projects, or Sarah's projects, or this person's projects as well. I can see them all in one place. Okay. I can get a timeline view. So if I wanted a visual timeline, maybe of all the projects we have, for all the project managers, and I want just a portfolio view of that, I can take a look at that. I like that one, and this one, and this one. And now I can see every project I have, and I have a timeline view that's going to show me the progress of all the key projects. Each line here is another project. So if you want a nice visual across all the projects I have, that's really what Power BI is very, very good at. If I want to look at the milestones, so maybe I want to see on the projects that are upcoming or active right now, show me the milestones that I have out there that are coming up in the last 30, that are coming in the next 30 days, and that occurred in the last 30 days. A milestone is a 0 duration task in any of your planner schedules. Or maybe I want to look at resources. Because I'm assigning people to tasks and activities, I can say, well, show me all of Todd's tasks or Sarah's tasks, and show me Sarah's tasks just on one project. And now I can see how many tasks and activities she has, if she's late, how far along those tasks are. And then I can add to that by adding other projects she's working on. So it's going to give me a nice view into what people are working on, so I can see if people are over or under booked. Finally, I have a My Work report. So this shows me, for me as an individual, I can just filter by myself. In this case, I'm playing the role of Allie. I can see I have 3 tasks across 3 projects, and here's the unique status. And keeping in mind, because this is Power BI, you can customize the look and feel and the branding and the charts and the graphs, and it's pulling the underlying core data from Planner Premium. So this is really the first level or set of reports you can get to, is through just using Planner Premium scheduling and then building some Power BI reports. The second level we can do is we can go into what's called the Power App. So we're going to go out into the Microsoft Power App for Planner. And this is the application that's going to aggregate data across multiple projects all in one place. Plus, also let me add other fields of metadata, do any kind of reporting I want to do. It's really, really nice how it pulls it all together. So in this case, you'll see on the left-hand nav, now I have a true application that's going to help me better plan, track, and organize my projects. In this case, I have a home page where I can see all the projects I have, but you see there's a lot more information about these projects. Maybe there's a project ID that gets generated by the system. Maybe there's a status if I want to look at active or postponed or closed projects. You have a life cycle phase. Where is this project in your overall process? You can assign a department. Now, what department is actually doing the work? Is this project part of a broader program? So if you want to do any program management and controls, I can start looking beyond just who's managing the project, but say, who's the business sponsor for the project? Or who's the owner of the project that's actually funding this? And who's the project lead or the project manager? I can then take underlying dates and things like percent complete from the actual project schedule and insert them here. And I was also going to aggregate things like maybe I want to capture the high level budget or align with a strategy or talk about the business importance. Think of it as a real-time look across projects. It gives you the ability to drill in and manage other data on projects. And this is that same project we were looking at in the Planner app and the Planner in the normal app. Now here it is in the Power app. And you can see there's a lot more information here. It has a workflow. So if you want to implement stage gates and workflow, it captures ratings and scorings. It captures the ability to actually flip over and look at the business case for the project. So it really becomes a very thorough tool to capture lots of data about your projects beyond just the schedule. That work plan or the task plan, this is actually coming over from Planner Premium, and now it is embedded in the project. So exactly the same schedule is now living in the Power app, and you can update it here or there, same data at the end of the day, same views on the board and the timeline. It's going to have a risk log where you can come in and actually track risks, issues, and even have a change control log here too. But also it allows you to capture status, and status is really important when it comes to reporting. We want to go in and create a status snapshot on different dates. So in early April, mid-April, late April, what was going right and wrong in our project? If we're really curious, what happened in this late April timeframe? The project manager has the ability to go into a form, fill it in, and provide that feedback here. So anybody viewing the data knows what we accomplished, knows what's coming in the next week, and knows what key decisions are. Again, this is a highly configurable application that allows you to actually build unique components as it relates to your project management framework. But we've got all this data about these projects here. Great stuff. Reporting. So the tool actually comes with Power BI reporting embedded in it. And these are some templates that we at PROJILITY have developed called Hammerhead Power Pro. And there's really 3 views of the world you can take. We found that most clients want. The first one is My Stuff. So this is actually a dashboard in Power BI coming through the app that shows me all my tasks, all in one place. I have 9 projects I'm assigned to, 23 tasks, 3 are in the future. It looks like I have 17 overdue. Let's take a look at those. And I click on the overdue. Now I just see I have 17 overdue tasks, but I want to see the overdue ones just on this frontline project. I drill into that. I can see the one task I need to get to, or maybe the one over here on the health assessment. Now I have a focused list on specific projects that I can act on. This is using Power BI, again, against that semantic model of data coming out of Planner. Or I want to look at all the risks that I've been assigned that I'm triaging or managing as a part of my day-to-day job. I'm really concerned about this ERP project. Let's just focus on those. And now I can go and I can act on those. It has links to those. Or issues I'm responsible for managing. Now I've got 3 issues that are on my plate. Again, looking across multiple projects. Let's just focus on ERP. Now I need to focus on that lack of executive sponsorship. Now I know what I do to act on that to mitigate this or manage this issue or problem we have. So the first set of reports is really about my world, my look at the world. The second focus we find most organizations need is more of a portfolio view. They want to look across all the projects in the portfolio and see health and status and everything in one place. So this is a portfolio dashboard in Power BI where I can see I've got 41 projects going on today, a $3.5 million budget, how many risks and issues we have. Down at the bottom, you see a listing of all the projects, but we have these pie charts here. So we can say, I'm really focused on the projects that are in progress right now. And I really want to focus on the ones that are for maybe the finance group. And this is where it'll shortlist that down. And now I can see we've got a certain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects. I'm really interested in this iPads project. I can click on that. There's a big blue button that will automatically generate a Power BI status report for me based on the data that the project manager put in those forms before. So it really helps you centralize not only the data access, but the controls and the reporting around all this data as well in a single application. And this is all Planner Premium with the Planner Power app and Power BI. Or maybe I wanted to take a look at maybe a timeline view. And I want to see for all the key programs or portfolios we have, what are all the projects going on right now? Management asks for this all the time. This is my roadmap. So for my ERP program, looks like we've got two major projects, the Phoenix project and the Zeta project. For the transformation, we have two. Our cloud migration involves a lot more projects, so we can see them here. And things like, our security program has multiple projects. We can easily view those, access them, and then drill down into them to get more information about them. Or maybe we want an enterprise look at all the risks we have across all of our projects. And then we just want to focus on risks that are related to financials, that are on a specific project or program. We can focus on that, and now we can act on that, work to triage it. Or maybe we want to look at the changes we have. So every project has a change log, as we mentioned. So now we can see all the pending changes that are out there. Let's look at the ones that are just high priority in our pie chart here. And let's look at the ones that are high priority awaiting a decision. This is something a change control board can focus on. Now they know what they need to act on. And finally, we can start looking across all of our project activities into milestones. Key milestones coming up. And I'm really curious again about that ERP project. I'm just going to click on it. And I want to see all the late activities or milestones related to that. I can see them all here. And then I can work with the project manager to act on them, make sure they're being mitigated. So think of it as you've got a set of reports that could look at a portfolio or an aggregation across your projects. And this can be sliced and diced in many unique ways. Finally, there are what we call resource reports. And as mentioned before, it's really hard to plan out work unless you know what people you have. So, Planner Premium provides a resource pool or a set of resource tables that we can configure. And so what we've done here is we've configured a view here into that resource pool. Then what we can do is we can set up unique fields. So we can say, I've got a skill. I want to set up resources by role, and I want to assign like business analyst to some, or project manager to others. And then you can look at the people versus the roles. Roles are really great for forecasts for the future. How many project managers do I need on projects in my pipeline versus who are the project managers and what are they working on today? And the system really allows you to answer those kind of questions. It lets you take a look at, how am I loading my resources up? So I've got 28 resources I'm managing, but right now it looks like I've got more work than I have capacity in the month of July. And most likely that's due to Sunny, because I know he's assigned to a lot of that work. I can see right now, and then I can drill down into that and see how many of his tasks are late right now versus ones that are overdue. It'll also give me what we call a heat map. And again, these are some of the reports we've been pre-built to show examples of what's possible. So now I can look month over month or week over week and see, do I have certain roles like a design resource where I'm going to be overbooked because I don't have enough resources to fill the queue of resources I have, or sourcing folks or writers. And then I can take a look at people that play those roles. If I wanted to come over here and just drill in using Power BI, I can pick a role. Maybe I'm going to look at my business analyst. Now I can see the specific business analyst. If somebody wants a business analyst to work in July, most likely Sunny and Allie aren't going to be the right people. But then I've got Anne has very little availability, but Brian and Robin have full availability. I can have this discussion. And this just assumes you're assigning people to tasks in the system and you're keeping that data up to date. That's the key. But we have the ability to look at this, to look at a task timeline. This is a great view. It shows me for each person I have, what tasks they assigned and how far along are they in a visual. Instead of looking at tons of data, I can look at a visual and I can look at different resources and say, well, I know Allie is coming available. Looks like she has a gap between the end of January and the middle of May. That's a time we can maybe slot in a new project for her. So by using Power BI along with the Planner Premium app, we can do a lot of this analysis, ask questions, and really do cross-project planning, but also start getting into basic resource management and basic task assignments and management. Start doing our issue and risk management all in one tool in one place. So hopefully you can see some of the capabilities are there, and this is all based on, again, Planner Premium and Power BI working together. We've shown you some examples using, an example we have called Power Pro, which is kind of a pre-built configuration of this that we can drop in and build around instead of having to build from scratch. It can save you some time. So, maybe some takeaways or good lessons learned here. Planner Premium is a tool designed for very specific purposes. It can help you manage and report on your projects, your resources, and your work, and other data related to these elements, as you saw, across all your projects. It's a very, very powerful tool. Whether you're using just the basic Planner tool, the Planner Core, or the Planner Power App, or the premium version, really depends on your specific needs. And a good first step is to sit down and say, what do we need from a business perspective? What kind of data or information are we looking to track? Is it just schedules and we can work one off and do some cross reporting? That's great. Just the Planner core app and Teams and Power BI may be great. Or if I need to expand that out and capture other project information or have any kind of procedures or processes or risks and issues and status, that's where that Planner Power app is something I need. Again, it's running in the background and it leverages exactly the same licenses. So you're already licensed for it. It's a matter of the planning and the setup of that application that can be configured for your specific needs. Power BI is the reporting tool you're going to leverage to access this. While Microsoft provides some good interfaces in the core tools to look at tasks and resources and work, you're always going to want something that's unique to you. And that's the beauty of Power BI. It gives you that power to create and publish different reports and dashboards. And you connect in, you build your semantic model out. And Microsoft actually has some good examples out there of that. And finally, at PROJILITY, we've tried to think ahead. We've been deploying these solutions for long enough where we've seen lots of people using it for lots of different things. But we've actually built a solution accelerator called PowerPro that can save a lot of time if you're looking to go down this road with more of a group, a department, or enterprise solution. What PowerPro is, it's a well-structured application built on that Planner Power app. It leverages the existing licenses you have, a Plan 1 or a Plan 3. We don't require any higher level licenses. It's completely configurable in your environment. So you can go after the deployment's done, add your own fields, tables, views, charts, graphs, change things around. It's completely configurable by you and your team. We find it reduces the cost and time by about 40 to 50% of what it would take for you to actually build your own Power App or for you to bring somebody in to build one from scratch, because it's a very unique, it has a unique structure to it. And there's a lot of logic built in based on how people manage projects to make their lives easier, essentially. We've tried to really think through that. It does have a set of pre-built processes, reports, and dashboard templates you can use and leverage on day one, and then you can configure those going forward. And finally, it's available both in the commercial as well as the GCC, the Government Community Cloud clouds for the application. So it's not just limited to commercial industry. So today's goal was really to give you a walkthrough of what Planner Premium can do to help you manage your projects, your people, and your work, and leverage Power BI to get a lot of reporting out of the tools. Hopefully we accomplished this. At this point, I'm going to hand the floor off to Annie, and we'll see if we have any questions. Annie?
Thanks, Rob. Please remember to enter your questions in the questions and answer manager at the top of your team screen. I see we have a couple questions in the queue. Question 1 was, can Planner be connected to Microsoft Azure DevOps ADO?
It can. We need to know the specific use case for it, but the data that's in Planner Premium is, again, stored in that Dataverse database. And then you could, in theory, take that data and move it over to ADO or move ADO data back. The one limitation is right now, Microsoft has the tasks table locked down, meaning we can't write back into the task table for task updates into the schedule. At some point, they may open that up so there will be, you have the ability to do kind of cross-system integration, but it really kind of depends on the integration you're looking for.
Thanks, Rob. There's another question here. As users adopt these new Planner tools and features, what gaps and features do they report to you? What are they saying is so difficult for them to accomplish with these tools?
It's really funny. So most folks don't actually complain about the tools and the gaps in the tools. They find that their folks aren't following a consistent process. So their project managers are not following how they were trained to use the tool, or they're not updating the data on a regular basis. The reports and the data in the system can just expose that. So we're finding a lot of clients are coming back and saying, let's build some reports that actually show where these gaps are, meaning people aren't updating the baselines on the schedules, or they're not updating their actuals, or they're not creating status reports. So we can have a dashboard to go to and say who's doing those things and who isn't, so you can work with them to get them more aligned with that process. A lot of times we don't find gaps in the tools as much as we do just the user base and the process around it. But when they become gaps in the tools, it becomes a question of, is it really a product gap, or is it something that can be done within the current tools?
Thanks, Rob. I don't see any questions right now, but we can wait a moment and then move on. Oh, here's one from Molly. Is the data from Dataverse to Power BI real time?
Good question, Molly. So there's always a historical nature to the data that's in your Power BI reports, whether it's a minute, a day, a week, a month. You can build what are called Power Automate data flows that schedule the refresh of that data on a specific basis. We have some reports that you may want refreshed every hour or every 2 hours. You would schedule a data flow to update the Dataverse data model with that. Other ones can be, every night where you don't need it that fresh. And you can always run an update on demand. You would just go and click update the data set and it'll pull that over. But it really depends on the scheduling of that data flow and when you want the data moved over for different parts of your data model.
Any more questions, folks? Otherwise, we'll move on. Well, if you're interested in exploring the use of Microsoft Planner Premium in conjunction with Power BI to manage and report on your portfolio of projects, resources, and work, reach out. Our team can assist with helping you understand and evaluate your options, including laying out a roadmap for deploying some of the technology, developing a plan for implementation, as well as guiding you on the support required for success. Our contact information is included here, including a link to our website with lots of good info on the services and solutions available to accelerate your rollout of all the Microsoft project and work management products. Additionally, if you already own Microsoft Plan licenses, almost everyone does, and would like guidance on what you can do to best maximize these, let's have a conversation. We can provide options for which technology is the right fit for your PMO, IT organization, or business groups. Microsoft has different offerings as there's no one size fits all with project management tools. Thank you again for joining our webinar today. We appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you online for our next session. Have a great day.